Every gilded cage is built with walls of comfort. The only question is what you're paying for them.
You ever stop and think about it? The way you feel about your phone, or your car, or even your favorite brand of coffee, it's more than just liking it, isn't it? It feels personal, almost like a belief system. Well, guess what? That's not an accident. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on how modern brands have turned simple purchases into powerful statements of identity.
So let's start with that big question right there. Why does owning a specific pair of sneakers feel like you're broadcasting a message to the world? Why does the phone you pull out of your pocket feel less like a simple tool and more like a declaration of who you are? The thing is, it's not a coincidence. It's by design.
And this quote absolutely nails it. See, the smartest companies out there figured out that the most powerful thing they can sell isn't a thing at all. It's an identity. It's a narrative. It's that feeling of belonging, of finding your place inside a story that they have very, very carefully built just for you.
All right, so first up, let's break down this fundamental shift in strategy. It's all about how brands went from selling you stuff to selling you a membership to an exclusive club.
You know, the old way of doing things was pretty straightforward. A product solved a problem, you judged it on its quality, its features, you used it. Simple. But this new model, the brand tribe model, it's a totally different game. It's not selling you a solution, it's selling you an identity. So the question changes from what does it do to what does this say about me? You don't just use it anymore, you belong to it.
So what really makes up one of these tribes? Well, it all starts with shared values and a common look, a shared aesthetic. And right away, that creates this powerful sense of an in-group versus an out-group. I mean, just think about the whole Apple versus Android thing, right? Suddenly, logos aren't just logos, they're social signals, they're badges of membership. And the most important part, all of this builds an emotional bond that has almost nothing to do with the actual product itself.
Okay, so this brings us to the playbook itself. And you might be surprised to find out this isn't some brand new idea. Oh no. It's a strategy with really deep historical roots, and it's been perfected for over 100 years to be as influential as possible.
The architect of this whole thing was a guy named Edward Bernays. And get this, he was Sigmund Freud's nephew. He basically created modern public relations based on a pretty chilling idea that the masses, well, that's us, are just an irrational herd that needs to be guided by an invisible elite. And he called his method the engineering of consent. It's a clean, clinical term for what is essentially mass manipulation, using our emotions and symbols to shape what we want and, of course, what we buy.
And here you can really see the two models side by side. Traditional selling, it talked to the rational part of your brain. Features, price, quality. Its message was simple. Here's what our product does. But identity selling, Bernays' legacy, it aims for something much deeper. It's all about belonging, status, the story. Its message is way more subtle and way more powerful. Here's who you get to be when you own our product.
So, why does this playbook work so incredibly well? Because it isn't just clever marketing. Nope. It's a system designed to tap directly into our deepest, most primal psychological needs.
I mean, this 4-step playbook for creating exclusivity is just brutally effective. Step 1, create scarcity. Think limited edition sneaker drops or long waiting lists. Step 2, anchor a high value. Slap a premium price tag on it because the high price itself signals that it's prestigious. Step 3, this triggers our deep-seated loss aversion. You know, good old FOMO, the fear of missing out. And the final step, put it all together and it solidifies your new status as part of this elite, exclusive club.
And once you're in the tribe, something fascinating happens. A powerful psychological wall just goes up. Like the quote says, repetition breeds resistance. After you've invested your money, your time, and your identity in a brand, your mind basically becomes a fortress. You start to automatically reject any information that contradicts your choice. It creates this perfect echo chamber where your brand is always right and everyone else is just wrong.
Okay, now, this is where things get a little wild, because these psychological tactics, which might have started out as just a creative art form, have been sharpened into a hard science.
Yeah, it's not just about clever commercials or a beautiful logo anymore. The whole game has changed, and that science has a name: neuromarketing. It's a field that lets companies literally peer inside your subconscious,
to see what actually grabs your attention and what drives your desires, often without you having a single clue that it's even happening.
And they do it with medical-grade tech. We're talking fMRI and EEG scans to measure your brain's emotional reactions. For instance, Frito-Lay used EEG scans and discovered the shoppers had a subconscious negative reaction to shiny chip bags. So what they do? They switched to matte bags, and sales went up. That wasn't a focus group talking. That was them reading minds. They use eye tracking to figure out exactly where you look on a crowded shelf. It's all about scientifically measuring your gut feelings.
Look no further than the legendary Coke versus Pepsi study for the ultimate proof. In a blind taste test, people's brains showed no real preference. The reward centers lit up about the same for both, but the second the brands were revealed, bam! An overwhelming preference for Coke. The brain scans showed memory and emotion centers firing up like a Christmas tree. The implication here is just staggering. The story of the brand literally overrode the physical sensation of taste. Your brain wasn't tasting the soda, it was tasting the brand.
So we've seen how this all works, and just how effective it is. But now we have to ask the really hard question. What's the real cost here? What is the actual price we pay for this manufactured sense of belonging?
This quote just forces us to stop and re-examine everything, doesn't it? Is the community that a brand is selling you a real, genuine connection? Or is it just a prettier, friendlier word for control? Is that feeling of belonging just a side effect of a system that needs you to conform to stay inside the tribe? This really lays the trade-off bare. On one hand, the promise is so seductive. Community, identity, status. But on the other hand, the price is really, really steep. Conformity, anxiety, manipulation. And maybe the ultimate cost is a kind of self-erasure, where your authentic, real self gets buried underneath the identity that you've been sold.
And this all leads to that constant state of compare and despair, right? Where you're always measuring your life against these idealized images the tribe is selling you. It turns your very identity into just another product on the shelf, something to be bought and sold. And over time, it just conditions you to stop thinking critically and start complying quietly. You learn to silence the parts of yourself that don't quite fit the brand's perfect image, and you become a willing prisoner in your own gilded cage.
So, after all this, after seeing the playbook, the psychology, the hard science, we have to end with this question. When you choose that phone, or those shoes, or that car, is that truly your choice? Are you exercising free will? Or are you maybe just responding to some carefully pulled strings, choosing a pre-packaged identity that was designed from the very beginning to feel like your own? The choice, it turns out, might just be the most powerful illusion of all.